So we covered Shedeur. Let's go to the next one. Who you want to do next?
Well, let's just go right into Jalen Milroe and his situation. And again, his invitation to the draft in Green Bay, all that being said, I mean, is there something that we're missing with Jalen Milroe and where he stacks up on some of these scouting boards for these teams? Because again, I get it. I see the ceiling for Jalen because he's the opposite of Shedeur. He's got a lot of unbelievable physical traits.
Yeah.
With his physicality, his running ability, his strong arm. But he's also like Shedeur in a sense too, where he does have that attitude and he does have that charisma, that character, right? That he walks into a locker room and has a presence. That being said, though, there's a lot of reps on film that it's just tough for me to see past those things and to think that they're just going to keep getting better in the NFL level, or that I even have time to do that at the NFL level if I'm a coaching staff. And I think that's my biggest concern. But just overall, your thoughts on Jalen Milroe?
Okay.
What's reaching for him if he's a first rounder, or is that a reach in itself, him being a first round pick?
Okay, well, I'm going to refer just for a second because I think we were talking. Let's say whoever is a quarterback, let's say Shedeur comes to the Giants. I just want to get this in.
Okay.
And he's going to go to practice after a few days. He's going to go, damn, Tommy DeVito can throw it. He's right. So in other words, it kind of shows you what the NFL is. So no matter where you go, you're going to be a little surprised about some of the quarterbacks.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to be surprised by Russell, Jameis, and Tommy. The fact that it's a little sharper and a little bit more on point than you think it is.
Right. Yeah. All right, I didn't mean to get there. But Jalen Milroe, I would say this. Man, the film, Georgia, everybody talks about the Georgia game. Yeah, it was really damn good. He ran the ball. It was Lamar Jackson on a few runs. People keep talking about Lamar Jackson. I'm going to say this. Stop it now. It's not the same. It's not even close to the same. You and I have talked about that. Lamar played for Bobby Petrino. They threw the ball. The first thing I did when I studied Lamar, I went, holy Christ, on film looks better than TV. This SOB can really throw it. So, I mean, like and he's a passer too. Coming in I can't say that about Jalen Milroe. And it's really all over the place, Matt. Decision-making, getting rid of the football, accuracy, just relying so much, which I understand, on his athletic ability. It's going to hurt him as a quarterback learning to process faster and do that. But I would say, let's put it this way. Let's say the Giants get him early in the second round. Then preseason, I want him to start and finish one of the whole games. And I want to throw it about as much as we possibly can to make, preserve him a little bit. Let's not let him get destroyed back there. But I want him to throw it 45 times. And I'm not exaggerating. Let's try to push it forward as much. But opening day, whoever they play, Jalen Milroe is going to be playing in that game. Because I'm going to put his big butt back there and shotgun or whatever and let the defense think about it. However you do it. Quarterback runs, quick passes, deep throws down the field, move it, whatever. But you're crazy not to use him right away. So that's the one big plus. I don't know if that's a good enough one, but that's my big plus for Jalen Milroe. And, Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston, one of those guys is going to hang around the Giants for a couple of years, okay? Mm-hmm. And so the rush truly won't be as much, I think, for Jalen Milroe because he's so different, and you got to really educate him and get him ready for the pro football game because even him, he's going to find out that pro football is a lot different.
Yeah.
But that's kind of what I think about it. But, man, the first round, he's going, so he must have got some good information. But I'm going to still say it. I'll be surprised if he's taken in the first round.
All right, so what do you think? What's the over-under on quarterbacks in the first round is 2.5 right now. Are you going to take the under or the over?
Well, I'm taking the over.
Okay.
And, I might have to put some money on that if I bet, but I don't do it.
All right,
But
and who are your three quarterbacks taken in the first round?
well, Cam Ward, Shador Sanders, and Jaxon Dart.
Okay, you don't think Shuck finds a way to sneak past Jaxon Dart here at nearing the 11th hour?
I like Shuck a lot, but no, I like Jaxon Dart more.
Okay.
I'm not going to say it's big, but it's enough that I'm really convinced about him, and I am Shuck too. I mean, Jaxon Dart, the arm is, in his pro day, and some people hate pro days. I had to hear that.
Yeah, we heard that earlier in the show. What do you think?
I know, but he let it go. You know what I mean? It was what I wanted to see. So I learned more about him there. He didn't play it safe. He's like, I'm going to hit this. He just let it go, and he kind of showed where, hey, this potential thing can keep going forward a little bit. But he's a really good decision maker. 1, 2, 3. He's got enough mobility where you can use him as a runner, and he will run on his own and get some yards.
Mm-hmm.
And and he can make all the throws. And I don't know him as a person. I think that's always a big deal too, that you get to interview these guys and watch him in practice and watch him work out. I don't have that, but that's what I think about him overall.
Now, overall, do you think that Jaxon Dart and Shador Sanders, and let's just throw Cam Ward in there too. Let's just throw the 3 first rounders. Do you think all 3 of them are ready to go and can handle being day 1 starter in the NFL as a rookie?
Well, I know Cam Ward can.
Okay. Shador and Jaxon not quite as sold on that?
No. They're not going to be day 1 starters. I don't care who drafts them.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So,
and what is it about their game that you want to see a little bit more of, or you just want to give them an opportunity to be in that room a little longer before it's their time?
Hey, look, in 1979, I'm standing over there. I play in the preseason. It was rough. It was fun, but it was rough too. And I was standing on the sideline for the first 4 weeks going, oh, man, I'm kind of glad I'm here. As I keep watching, I'm understanding and learning so much in a fast time. And then by the 3rd game, I'm going, I think I can play now. Let's go.
Right.
And, that's that. But standing there and just learning and listening and going through the meetings and practice. And, I was like, okay, every week went by, my confidence grew, knowing I was probably better than all the quarterbacks that we had at the time.
Right.
So, yeah, there's, man, a lot of teams do. And we saw it this past year. Rookies, right from the start, they go and they do well. But that wasn't the era I was in, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So, but I look at all these guys. They all need to sit on the bench a little bit before they get thrown in there.
All right. Well, that's honestly, it doesn't matter because it's worked out for players on both ends of the spectrum of sitting and waiting, guys starting right away and having success. So a lot of it has to do with obviously the surrounding cast, the environment, the coaching staff, and all those pieces kind of coming together. And that's why it's the greatest game in all of the land, Phil. Big Guy, any other thoughts before we close it out here today?
No, I really get, we narrowed you hear these 4 and, 2, I think about Kyle McCord.
Yeah.
And, damn, Kyle plays like a pro.
Right.
And in Ohio State, I mean, come on. It was like, we won't want to throw it with Kyle or whatever. I don't know why, but that's the way they were. And they did the same thing to Will Howard until the damn playoffs this past year. So I guess that's the formula there. But, Kyle McCord is a safe pick. Good size, great instincts on the field, can throw under any circumstance, can make all the throws.
Right.
And, Kyle, just to go there, he was down in Pittsburgh. I think the Giants had him in yesterday or something talking to him.
Yeah.
But, he adjusted his game and just kept getting better and better. And then I watched him during this offseason and, seeing him, I go, wow, he's taking it a step further. So I don't know why he's not in that conversation too. But even though he's not in that conversation, doesn't mean he won't be taken in a place where he's going to be really happy.
Is he closer? Is that gap so big between Jaxon Dart and Tyler Shuck and Kyler McCord, or is it much smaller than a lot of people on TV or people at home maybe think it is?
He is the most consistent thrower of the ball of all those guys.
Okay.
I think.
Right.
And of course, he got to throw it a lot at Syracuse.
No doubt. Yeah.
What really kind of holds him back, I guess, at Ohio State? Oh, it wasn't great. Well, hell, they were 11-0, and then they lost to they won the national championship. Michigan did, probably one of the best college defenses you'll ever see.
Yeah.
And they had a chance to win the game at the end. If he was a miracle player, it didn't work out. So So what was the question?
He had the best performance out of anybody really in the entire season, including Jalen Milroe against that Michigan defense, which, like you said, is one of the best ever. So, but yeah, I mean, I guess, is that gap of Dart, Shuck, and then McCord that big, or is it much smaller than we think it is for the general fan at home? Because we don't hear Kyle's name as often.
Well, it doesn't move the needle. We've heard Jaxon Dart so much. We didn't hear Tyler Shuck's number until this past week, maybe. I know.
Yeah. So Kyle McCord is as good a football player as Jaxon Dart and Tyler Shuck. That's the question.
They're different styles, but I would feel comfortable with any of them. Let's put it that way.
Right.
Because he is a different style than the other two.
Yeah.
Okay. He definitely is. He's not going to run with the football as much as he's going to move in the pocket and outside the pocket for one reason. He wants to throw that damn thing.
That's
because he's dead-eye dick when it comes to throwing the football.
Right.
So, and, he's another one that'll go to the pros, and some of his deficiencies, whatever they are, doesn't matter. He's going to see them and correct them right away.
Yeah.
So I have that kind of confidence in him. And, of course, listen, this is because I know him well. I've seen it. I followed him closer than anybody as a quarterback in college football this past year.
Right.
So I feel pretty safe when I talk about Kyle McCord.
Yeah, no doubt. I get you. And I think Kyle is one of those football players that he has the upside of being a really good NFL starter. But, his floor to me is a 15-year NFL veteran backup that is Mr. Reliable, and that, every team, even though when you think his career is over, it's like, all right, hey, we'll sign him because we know that he's played. We know he's tough. We know he's reliable, and he's going to show up to work on time and do his thing. And I think that's the thing for us personally that we really enjoy the most. We know the great physical traits that he has. We know the great personality he has, but we also know too that the dude's just a great worker, right? And he's a pleasure to be around. And these are things that, again, it goes down to when you're evaluating these quarterbacks. I think a lot of it has to do with, yes, you want the raw physical ability like you were talking about, big guy, but you also just got to like the guy. And just say, hey, I'm okay going to work with this guy for every day of my life and putting my job on the line for him, and that means a lot, that sometimes that goes outside of the normal framework of like, how does he throw it?
Well, very well. He's got it in his throat. In other words, got a little crap in there. He's going to get it out. But the other thing, he's like a mule. And, I at least spent a few years on the farm with my family and dad. And you know what mules are? They're hard-ass workers, man. And they got endurance. It's unbelievable.
Right.
And he has that great endurance. He's a great practice guy. You know what I mean? So, that means something. People are going to feel good about him when he practices because he's good decision maker and he can pinpoint the football.
Yeah.
And I hear mostly about Kyle. It's just this. Well, he didn't get to play enough games.
Right.
And, in this day and age, these guys, oh my gosh, a lot of them are playing a lot of football. And there's more quarterbacks to talk about, which we will maybe later this week or next week. We're really doing.
And of course, we'll have our reactions to post-draft and all that stuff too. But hey, maybe he didn't play in as many games as some other guys in the past drafts or whatever, where they got 3, 4, or 5 years experience and 6 years in some cases. But he did play in some high quality football games and some games too where he was the most important football player for his team's success. So I think that also helps tremendously for that young man and his development. But
I say this all the time. I'll tell this. I say this all the time about if you really want to watch Louisville play Miami. So you get to see Cam Ward and Tyler Shuck. It was a shootout, and they both were just ripping it and great plays. And if you want to know anything about Kyle McCord, watch the game when you see Miami go up to Syracuse and play.
Right.
It was a great game in this way. Both quarterbacks, I thought, managed the game really well, understanding what it was about, all this other stuff, and they did great jobs. And, one of those teams, one of those quarterbacks had to try to overcome his coach. You can't always overcome the coaching. Well, I'll leave it at that. But, yeah, they're great games to watch, and you get a great feel for who they really are, I think, in both of those.
All right. Well, hey, that's good. It's a good way to close it out right there. So that's what we got for Shedeur Sanders. He works out with the New York Giants on Thursday, I believe.
Yeah.
So we'll hear, I'm sure, some posts and reports about that after the fact. Kind of curious to see what people say behind the scenes too with that situation. And hey, we're getting closer and closer to the draft. So now this is where everybody starts to lose their minds, because there's all these reports. Some are true, some are not true. Teams playing games behind the scenes. Teams just straight up panicking because they don't know what the hell to do. So that's where it gets really fun and exciting. But that's all we got for Sims Complete. He's Phil Sims. I'm Matt Sims, and we'll be back with some more NFL draft build-up crap.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Coming straight from Sims Complete and Phil Sims.
Such an ass.
Yeah. All right, see ya.